to go through my, as it's kind of turning warmer now, I wanted to go through my sleep system that I used over the winter and the kind of shoulder season. If it stays as sunny as it is, or as hot as it is now, then I probably need to tone it down a bit, but just want to go through, because I know a lot of people struggle with kind of how to sleep comfortably at night, and this really worked for me. I was comfortable every night I slept out, in hammock and a tent. So I'll just take each bit. I won't do a review of each bit individually, but I'll just kind of explain what I did and kind of the system that I used and why I did it that way. Okay, so the actual sleeping system itself, the mat that I used was the Thermarest NeoAir X-Lite. I've already reviewed this, it's my first ever video, so I'll put it up there if you want to go and have a look at this. Really good mat and really reliable, down just past freezing for me this winter. It was quite a mild winter this one, so I haven't like maxed out all this gear yet, but like I said, it was really comfortable. Just I think -4 was the coldest I got to, so not too bad. But like I said, it was all comfortable. I didn't struggle at all with the system that I used. To the pillow next. So the pillow that I used was the Trichology Ultralight pillow. I've just blown it up so you can see how actually big it is there. A lot of people struggle with their pillows like slipping around on their mats, or they put it inside the hood of their sleeping bag. But this is fine. I could maybe get some Velcro, put it on the mat so it stays there, but I didn't struggle with that. Nice and big for when you're tossing and turning at night. Love that, and it's only about 11 quid off Amazon, so not spending like 40 quid getting a Cedar Summit Ultralight one or anything like that. That only weighs, what does that weigh? 83 grams. So for minimal weight, definitely advise getting a pillow. Some people just use like a stuff sack, kind of stuff with clothes, but for 83 grams I'd rather just have something that's dedicated to be comfortable. You know you're going to get a comfortable night, a comfortable rest for your head every night with that. So I would recommend. Bit of a weird one. The quilt that I've used this winter is actually one that I took a punt on. It's not like I've used sleeping bags before. This is the first ever quilt that I've used, and this is it's an Ice Flame. It sounds like a proper BTEC name, but it's from AliExpress and it only cost me about 85 quid. And if you've looked at quilts before, they can go easily up to 250, 300 quid. This one, the website says it's comfortable down to 5, but kind of lower limit being 0. And I'd say that's pretty accurate. I was never uncomfortable. I'm quite a hot sleeper myself, and with the clothes I was wearing and the pad underneath, I didn't struggle with wearing this at all. I'm kind of reluctant to do another video on this because it's from it's a budget quilt from an unreliable company. I don't want to say yes, this is really good, and then you get some kind of knockoff product yourself that isn't the same as this. Or if you sleep cold at night, this might not work for you. But at the time I didn't have the money to spend. I couldn't justify spending 300 quid or 250 quid on a proper quilt from like UGQ or anywhere like that. So yeah, that's what I used. I'll use it continually over the summer because it can get a bit colder at night, down to around 0, and that should definitely be fine for summer. But if you're going winter backpacking, I would just, unless you know that you're a hot sleeper, I'd recommend getting something a bit warmer than this maybe. Because the weather in the UK is quite temperate, I quite like the idea of having a modular sleeping system. So what that basically means is not just having one quilt that you kind of use all year, because if you have like a proper beefy quilt that goes down to -20 whatever, and then you try and use that in the summer, you're going to be sweating buckets. So I quite like the idea of having kind of less extreme temperature quilt, and then maybe I put like a Snugpak jungle blanket over me, or use like a sleeping bag liner and sleep in that inside this, or something like that. With this, it doesn't have proper pad straps, so it doesn't come with it anyway. I didn't really care about that much. I kind of just either draped it over me if it wasn't that cold, or it has got kind of hooks that kind of connect it together that you can just undo. And so I kind of half used it as a sleeping bag and half used it as a quilt, which is nice. You can use it as either, depending on how you want to sleep that night. So yeah, opens up nice and wide. I'll think about doing a proper review of this, but for now, that's the quilt I used, and it kept me comfortable all winter. And that quilt only weighs 666 grams, so really lightweight, getting down to around 0 that I got to, and just below. So the clothes that I used when I was sleeping, I changed out of the clothes that I was hiking in that day. It's not kind of most efficient way of doing it, but in the winter you kind of want to get out of your wet clothes into some warm, dry clothes at the end of the day, to get that good night's sleep that you need. So I used just the leggings that I used, just some, they're called Campri. They're just sports base layer leggings. There's nothing special about them. Only 130 grams, something like that. But yeah, they did me well. Never got cold legs. The top that I used, I actually got probably just before the winter. Is a Mountain Warehouse Extreme Merino Wool quarter zip. That weighs 226 grams. It's a blend, so it's not 100% merino wool, so it was a little bit itchy, but hopefully some washing should sort that out. But yeah, that kept my top half warm, or kept my core warm. Never had any issues, and that, along with the leggings, was a really good just base layer, minimal clothing. I don't usually sleep like some people sleep just in the underwear or something like that. But I like having base layers on when I sleep, especially when it's colder in the winter. Along with that, I have some merino wool socks. These are Mountain Warehouse as well. These weigh 96 grams for the pair. I don't use these to actually hike in. I just use these for sleeping. So I've set for hiking, take those off and put these on, warm, dry, absolute morale for when you're going to bed. And yeah, my feet never got cold. A lot of people struggle with, especially when they have quilts, when they've got the hole in the end with the drawstring, getting a bit of draft in. But I never got cold feet when I slept. So don't have to be these specifically. Any merino wool socks should do, but these are kind of the cheapest that I found in a shop that I didn't get offline. So yeah, happy with those. And then if it ever got, so that was kind of my basic what I slept in. Then if it ever got a bit colder, I had a Montane Iridium beanie to use. I always considered not taking this because I usually just hike in a cap or something like that. I never usually hike with like a beanie on, but this is quite thin, so it's really good. It's not like a big woolen beanie that weighs a lot. In fact, it only weighs 34 grams. 34 grams, so what is that? Just over an ounce for those Americans. Yeah, that's really good. Montane Iridium beanie. So I just slide that on at night if it ever got properly cold. That's good. And then this, I've had this forever. This is my kind of buff. I should really need to replace it, to be honest. It's just a Highlander olive green buff. It's got stains all over it from where I've wiped stuff up with and used it for all sorts. These obviously don't weigh a lot. This one particularly weighs only 58 grams, so just less than 2 ounces. But yeah, buff. I'll put it up and then usually under my hat, and then have my Montane beanie over the top, and that kept my ears and head warm. So yeah, definite bit of kit if you don't have it already. Buff is really good when you're walking. Get it up over your nose, and it keeps that wind chill off your face. Really good. So that's the kit that I use. The reason why I use that particularly is that there's a lot of different bits. You can take different bits off as and when the temperature rises and falls. So you could just sleep in the base layers if you needed to. Or if it got really cold, I could throw all of that on. The hat, the socks, the buff as well as the base layers, and then my down jacket as well. If it gets proper cold next winter, I could take a blanket or something else with me. So I'm not always carrying around a heavier, unnecessarily warm quilt. So I've just got that as a basic, and then I can add to it if it gets colder as and when. The winter's just been, like I said, was quite mild, so I didn't need anything more than this. But if I saw one night that it was going to get down to -5, -10, in around that temperature, then I'd probably either bite the bullet and just take one of my sleeping bags instead of the quilt and just take the weight hit, or I'd kind of take something like a sleeping bag liner or something like that to sleep in. So that's the kind of system that I used over the winter. I know people fret a lot about being comfortable when they sleep, and people go out and instantly buy like the biggest and the best and the all singing, the all dancing sleeping bags, and they like spend loads of money. You can spend a lot of money if you buy a decent sleeping bag, but as long as, what I'd recommend is get something down and add 5 degrees if you're a cold sleeper onto the comfort rating. So if it says it's down to 0 comfort, it's probably, if you're a cold sleeper, maybe around 5 degrees, and that should see you well. But yeah, so that's the sleeping system I used. I'll let you, well, I'll post a video if I want to do a review of this quilt. And if you've got any questions about the sleeping system that you use, or anything that you would like to know about to do with this, please put a comment on. And as always, thank you for watching, and wait out for the next video.